Hi, this is Zach here with the US Chartbreakers here at Zach's Traders Cafe, the weekend edition. It's Saturday, June the 28th. Starting off with the S&P, which is up and away after the latest gap to the upside through the old February resistance, the pre-tariff debacle resistance, 61.47, while we're above that. On an end-of-day close basis, looking for as high as 63.50, which is the top of that post-May 2024 broadening triangle. What is positive at the moment, and we're looking for that by the end of next month, is the way we've had multiple bounces for the RSI above neutral 50, and that tends to be seen only in the strongest of situations. And obviously, you can see since the lows in the first week of April, we've had periodic gaps to the upside, something which is very impressive indeed. Moving on to the Nasdaq, which has been leading the way actually versus the S&P, and we were looking for 23,000 by the end of next month. In fact, 23,100 now. That's where the line is angling towards, and hopefully we'll get that in the first half of July rather than the second. In terms of support, the floor of the gap there is probably the worst case scenario, 21,900. Otherwise, the old 22,200 February peak, hopefully providing support while we stretch towards that 23,100 target. Moving on to the stocks, and here you can see that we're starting off with Autonomix Medical. Situation here is that obviously we're trying to bounce after a rather extended bear run. What's interesting is the moment we've hit the top of that falling trend channel from the beginning of the year, that was basically Friday's high, just around $2.40. End of day close above that, we could be hitting the top of that triangle formation from back in January, as high as $4 by the end of next month. Ideally, we stay on the right side of $1.72 in that 50-day moving average. Moving along to Auddia, and here rising trend channel base, and hoping that this is it in terms of the turnaround for the shares. If you look closely, you can see that very close to having the 50-day, well, in fact, the 50-day moving average already rising. We gapped up on Friday and above recent resistance, $5.40, looking for the top of that rising trend channel, probably towards the $10 area. I straighten up the resistance line there a bit more accurately. Upside valid while we're above that $540 area, as I've just said. Moving on to BarFresh, which might be a situation which is more comforting or comfortable for some people. Broken recent resistance around $3.10. Above that, looking at the top of the range and the top of that channel there, as high as $4.80 by the end of next month, or hopefully much sooner than that. Situation at Citius has been absolutely fantastic. It's done exactly what we wanted it to do, which is not always the case. Rising trend channel base there hit the target there around $5.30 mark. Above that, we're looking with the upper parallel of that rising trend channel base from last summer, as high as $9, and we're looking for that by the end of July. Ideally, the shares stay up above resistance on the way up, $3.50 ahead of doing or hitting $9. Another favorite here in the recent past has been Eyenovia, and a real favorite, in fact, and you can see why. We've got this U-shaped turnaround for the shares. I suppose it's like a bit like a cup and handle, but sort of two or three handles on it. Second target hit there at $7.70. Above that, looking for the bottom of the gap there and the top of the upper parallel of that red resistance line target. The second one there as high as $19 by the end of next month. But this looks like a mid-move consolidation bull flag situation. Another favorite coming up now, which is Live Ventures, and here managed to have a decent push through the rising 50-day moving average, which tends to be a sort of continuation signal in its own right. Above that, $15.73, looking at the top of the range. The top of that triangle there as high as $27 by the end of next month. On to Netcapital, and here another winner in terms of hitting recent targets. The latest target was red line there around $5.10. Above that, we're looking at the upper parallel of that line as high as $6.80 by the end of next month, or hopefully much sooner than that. Could be by even the end of next week. New name next, and it is Odysight, and here a broadening triangle base. We've already made decent headway, obviously, on Friday. Looking for the top of that broadening triangle there at $8.34 as an initial target for around the shares. Looking for greater glory than the upper parallel of that would be towards the $10.50 mark, maybe by the end of next month. Ideally, we stay above recent resistance around $6 out of 8 and then 10 on Odysight. Moving on to the last two. First one, Red Cloud, and here a U-shaped turnaround. What's interesting here is that resistance on the way down was around the $3 mark. Above that, we're looking for basically the other resistance point on the way down, which was $4.06 around that level. Obviously, just to try to head back towards the highs that we had towards $5 over the next few weeks. But it will be key that we can hold above $3 on an end-of-day close basis early next week. I'm finishing up with Sonder, and here it's a sort of falling wedge situation, a falling wedge breakout. We're above the top of the wedge at around $2 and the 50-day line $1.99. Above that combo, looking for the top of the triangle there from February. Size $3.60 by the end of next month. Nice unfilled gap to the upside, bear trap gap reversal formation, helping give confidence. That's it for me today. More updates during the week.